We all know someone who has suffered from cancer in the past, or even passed away as a result of it. Up to 17 million new cases of cancer were diagnosed last year, and it resulted in up to 9.6 million deaths. In the United States alone, over 1.7 million new cases were diagnosed in 2018, with over 600,000 deaths. To put that into perspective, it is estimated that 620,000 soldiers died during the Civil War and just over 410,000 American soldiers in the Second World War. When they call it a war on cancer, they're not kidding. But what exactly is cancer? Is there something we can do to prevent it? And if not, isn't there a way we can treat it to reduce the number of deaths? Well, the answer is yes and no. Even though there are ways of preventing and treating certain types of cancer, they aren't effective in some cases. Deaths due to cancer are expected to rise, and there's still a long way to go before the disease is easily treated with modern-day medicine. Why this is, and what our options are for the future of cancer treatment, is what we're going to learn in this video, brought to you by Infusion 51A, an impact investment fund, focusing on utilizing precision medicine to help fight cancer. First, let's take a look at what cancer actually is. To understand cancer, we've got to shrink down to the cellular level. Cells make up the building blocks of our body, and each one has a specific task to do. Almost all of these cells contain bits of information, called DNA. Each bit of information in your DNA is called a gene. This DNA, much like an instruction manual, or sheet music for a violinist, tells the cell how it should create proteins. These proteins, in turn, do most of the work in the cells, from forming the structure to ensuring it functions properly. Sometimes, however, DNA gets damaged, and much like a violinist missing a note, this can cause some less than positive reactions. This isn't always a cause for concern, though, as not all damage done to the DNA has instant negative effects. However, when enough damage occurs in the genes responsible for cell division, cancer can be the result. Often, cancer is caused by damage done to the genes responsible for telling the cell to grow, called the oncogenes, or the part of the cell that tells the cell to stop growing, called the tumor suppressors. This damage is called a mutation, and it often takes multiple mutations in a cell's DNA before it truly becomes cancerous. Once this happens, the cell produces proteins that tell the cell to divide rapidly, and this is how a tumor can start to form. Think of it like a patch of grass. A healthy patch of grass may have some weeds on it, but they don't always damage the grass itself. However, if there are too many weeds, or the weeds start to compete with the grass, then it can be very detrimental to your lush backyard. This analogy is also great for explaining why cancer is so difficult to treat. So why is cancer so difficult to treat? With all the researchers and medications we have, surely it can't be that hard. Well, to properly understand this, let's go back to the patch of grass. Much like cancer, the word weeds is an umbrella term used to describe a wide variety of different plants. Once the weeds start to pop up on your patch of grass, they can start spreading and killing the healthy grass around them. So you're left with patches of dead grass, regardless of what kind of weeds caused it. Sure, some weeds may spread quicker than others, and certain conditions may make them more or less aggressive, but at the end of the day, they're bad news. Much like weeds, cancer is also an umbrella term. We tend to think all types of cancer are the same. This is far from the truth. Just like weeds, cancer is very different from one case to another. This is due to different cell mutations and the order they occur. If you line up a group of people with the same type of cancer, the mutations could be completely different in each one. This is why cancer treatments might work for some while having no effect for others. And this is what makes cancer such a difficult disease to treat. However, this hasn't stopped the medical community from trying. We currently have 3 main forms of treatment. The first is surgery. This involves removing the lump of cancerous cells from the body, which works best when the cancer is discovered before it spreads. It can be compared to a grandma relentlessly ripping the weeds out of the ground with her bare hands. Alternatively, radiation is also an option and can be used in combination with surgery. This works by directing radiation at the tumor to kill off the cancer cells. either using external beams of radiation or by placing a small piece of radioactive material in or near the tumor. Both of these methods can be effective for tumors that are easily accessible, but there's a chance cells are left behind. When your reputation as the best gardener in your street is on the line, it's not such a big deal if you miss a few weeds. But when you are talking about cancer, it's a whole different story. As we've learned, cancerous cells divide rapidly and can cause neighboring cells to start dividing rapidly too. Failing to remove all of the cells can cause it to keep coming back. The third treatment method is chemotherapy. It uses drugs that target all rapidly growing cells in your body and is often used when the cancer has spread. This is why it causes hair loss, fatigue, a low immune system, and other symptoms. It's also commonly used in combination with radiation or surgery to help ensure any leftover cancer cells are dealt with. The issue is that the side effects are grueling and can be so severe that the patient has to stop treatment. Going back to your much-loved backyard, it's like drenching the grass in weed killer and hoping for the best. There's a chance the weeds will die, but the grass may die too. Also, if you do not know the type of weeds you're battling, there's no way of knowing if the weed killer will be effective. As a result, some patients may respond to treatment, while others see no benefit. This has changed the way we approach cancer care. You wouldn't try open heart surgery without looking, so why should cancer be any different? Imagine if we could see what mutations a patient has and the differences between the same types of cancer. By understanding the differences within the same types of cancer, we've developed technologies that identify the mutations and the effects they have. This makes it possible for us to create or guide current treatments based on a patient's exact situation. Welcome to the world of precision medicine. Precision medicine is a field focused on tailoring treatments to an individual, making it possible to identify which mutations are causing the cancer. This is also called DNA sequencing. With advancements in science and technology, genomics has become easier and more affordable than ever before. By shining a light on the mutations in a cancer cell, we can tailor the treatment to a patient's current situation. It's also leading to the development of new drugs targeting specific mutations with the aim of improving effectiveness. However, as has been the common thread throughout this video, it's not quite so simple. Even though we're able to create treatments based on the specific mutations, it has been found that not all patients with the same mutations respond equally to the same treatments. As an advancement of genomics, a proteomics-based technology was based out of the National Institute of Health and is part of the National Cancer Moonshot, initiated by the Obama administration, helping develop new cancer treatments. Proteomics goes past DNA sequencing and looks at the individual proteins within the tumor cells. As an analogy, think of genomics as studying the blueprints of a house, and proteomics as studying the builders themselves. As we've already learned, our cells are built up of proteins which tell the cell what to do. The proteins that are associated with certain disease processes are called drug targets. By measuring the presence with the activation of these drug targets, it can be possible to determine the effectiveness of various cancer treatments. Take breast cancer, for example. One of the standard treatments for breast cancer is called tamoxifen. Each year, roughly 10,000 to 15,000 breast cancer patients are resistant to this treatment, making it ineffective for this group. Using proteomics, we could help to determine who is resistant to the treatment versus who should respond before starting treatment. This prevents patients from taking drugs that are unlikely to help and opens up possibilities for alternative options. New technological advancements in the fields of genomics and proteomics hope to revolutionize the way we treat cancer. If we're able to determine which treatments patients are most likely to respond to, it should result in better outcomes, less hospital visits, and lower the cost for patients as well as the healthcare ecosystem. If you like this video, please help us raise awareness by liking and sharing it. The more people that know about how cancer works and how we may be able to improve treatment options in the future, the better. If you are interested in learning more or want to find out how you can invest with us, please click below or visit us at www.infusion51a.com.